Hello guys, what's going on? This is Puerto MK here today, and we're going to be reviewing Mario Kart Super Circuit. This is my honest take on it, as I have finished most of the game. I haven't completely finished it because I haven't unlocked 150cc. Without further ado, let's get to it. Now, the first thing that comes to mind of the system that you choose to play Mario Kart Super Circuit on. Depending on which one you choose, I only have one option. I'm not including emulator because that's not the real experience. I have a Game Boy Advance SP, which is my go-to choice because of the backlit screen. I also have a Game Boy Advance, which I barely use, but I will show you both on how they look. The nostalgia. Booting up this game, really nice. I mean, shit, backlit. If you have a backlit, it is pretty good to see this thing on. I mean, wow. Like, I don't even believe this thing myself. I mean, shit. This shit took all the way to like 2003 to implement. Like, that's ridiculous, but I mean, whoa. When you get a backlit screen, changes from this.
Shut the fuck up.
To this. I mean, if you really look at this in retrospect, this looks a lot better in so many ways. You could see this game a lot better. You can play this game a lot better. But without further ado, let's get to the controls.
Guys, look at me. I'm hopping. I'm shadowboxing now, pressing R. Now I'm pressing L and I can shoot green shells.
So let's get this right off the bat. Look at this. Once I rocket start, my goodness, what you have to do, you have to press A at all three in order to not burst out. If you try pressing it at 2, you're going to burst out. This is kinetically different than every other Mario Kart in the series. But keep in mind, this was like the 3rd entry at that point. So, I mean, a lot of stuff are going to be different. One of the things being the fact that you can now drift. You saw that blue spark? Every time you press R on a turn and you hold with that turn, you can perform a drift. Now, a little complex, like, I mean, if you happen to come across like a really tight turn and you're gonna like slip out, what you can do is you can press R and then you can press the left and right and switch between those so you don't happen to fumble the turn. But I have not utilized that because I am ass at the game right now. I'm rusty, so give me some time, but I mean, yeah. Does the game control pretty well on Game Boy Advance? Yeah, I mean, I was able to finish this race pretty well. I was actually surprised because, I mean, shit. You know, I could really not see from the footage I was putting it at. Hell, you could see I put just a glass cup and my phone just to record the Game Boy Advance, which is like crazy. But I mean, yeah, this is probably the most efficient way. The only for sure downside of this is the fact that, yeah, the backlit screen presents too much of an issue. I mean, I was barely even able to see recording this thing. My phone made it look a lot lighter than it actually is, but I mean, yeah, yeah, you could put a light over it and still see it properly, but it's like, why would you even want to do that, you know? It's like, you really just gotta have a backlit screen in order to really enjoy the full experience of the game. But it really sucks, because, I mean, dude, look at the setup of this thing. The shoulder buttons are really big, offering you a lot more space to just press shit. And it's like, look, those shoulder buttons, great. Presents less of an issue when controlling Mario Kart because, I mean, those are what shoulder buttons are really made for. A lot more strategic games. And it's like, yeah, if it really just weren't for the backlit, this wouldn't be a bad experience. But, I mean, can it get the job done? Yeah, and I mean, this is probably the second best you can get. So, yeah. So now we begin our journey to the Game Boy Advance part of this section. The SP, my bad. And, I mean, overall, you see, it's pretty much just the same shit, but the problem presenting here isn't really anything to do with the view, which is a benefit, actually, because, shit, you can actually see the screen a lot better. As you can see, the backlit does present a lot of light, so you can accurately do drifts and stuff, but that does not matter concerning the fact I had to bend the Game Boy Advance just so I can capture this shit properly on my phone. So if I'm messing up a lot, that's exactly why. I could barely see compared to my Game Boy Advance. But if I were playing normally, I would prefer the Game Boy Advance, obviously because of the backlight, but I need to stop yapping about that. Let's go yap about the controls. So, yeah, first off, the L and R buttons on this thing are cool. Like, they are, but it's just like, some of the time, I can't even fucking drift. I can't even use my item because of how small these shoulder buttons are, bro. They're like fruity pebbles. Look at this shit. That's not nearly as much of the issue compared to how the game controls overall. We've already established that Toad is the best character to control because he can handle a lot more turns. If we try a heavyweight like Bowser, look at this bullshit, man. I mean, look how slippery he is. You drift and you're fucking done, bro. Like, shit. I mean, don't even worry about the crab footage because, I mean, I'm just pretty shitty at the game. But, I mean, yeah. Like, if you drift, if you turn, it's like, look, onto the off-road. I mean, imagine if you were actually trying to perform a full-on drift. Like, you know, you don't really know how the fucking game works. I mean, shit, I just spun out there, which sucks because it's like Bowser's a cool character, but in this game, yeah, you'll notice that heavyweights aren't necessarily the most utilizable in this game. It's just because of how slippery a lot of characters are, and this is like what really ruins the enjoyment of the game. But it's not really the time trial section that really bothers me. Because, I mean, shit, the only reason I was really doing this for time trials was just to show you how bad heavyweights would be in this game. It's just abhorrent. Abysmal, dude. It's crazy. So now that we've gone over lightweights and heavyweights, let's go to middleweights. And why I don't really like middleweights. For example, here's Luigi. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not even drifting and look how slippery this motherfucker is. How does anybody use this motherfucker, dude? Like, I'm bashing into walls. I can't even fucking drift properly, man. I mean, shit. I don't even know how the fuck I'm playing this dude. Like, holy crap, man. Imagine being a casual and playing this thing. Nah, dude. You're fucked. And that sucks because, I mean, Luigi's one of my favorite characters in the game itself. And it's like, you know, because Luigi's such a horrible character, I have to avoid this fucker. I mean, look, I tried drifting right there. I just went completely off-road. Now, if I bumped into that wall, it's because, yeah, as I said, this display of me trying to record, I could not really see anything properly. But, like, I mean, it doesn't really change the fact on how slippery Luigi is. He's just way too fucking slippery. No one would really be able to utilize him properly unless, like, you've studied this game like crazy. So, yeah. Now that we went over that, let's go ahead and try Peach. Because Peach should be fine, right? Despite me already saying that, I do not really like middleweight characters too much. So we're going to start off with this. I think ironically that I controlled Peach a lot better compared to Toad in this recording, but we'll scrap that. Don't really take that for real. And I contradicted it, but anyways, I think Peach is probably the second most stable character concerning the fact I was able to control Peach really fucking well, despite me not being able to see Peach well. Like, Peach is an alright character, but I'm like, I don't really like, you know, when I wake up first in the morning, I power on Mario Kart. Like, I don't really want to be playing with Princess Peach, man. Like, Peach, I don't really like as a character already. She's, like, my least favorite Mario character. And I have to play this motherfucker because, oh, she's one of the most stable in this game. Bullshit. And, yeah. I mean, there's really not much to say about Peach here other than the fact, oh my god, it's Peach. That's cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get down to Yoshi's controls because, yeah, we have to include Yoshi, of course, because he is a middleweight, either lightweight or middle. I don't fucking know. To be honest with you, I'd assume Yoshi's a middleweight because he's classified as middleweight in Wii. So all you nerds can shut the fuck up. But yeah, look at this motherfucker, man. Yoshi's probably the third most stable, although Yoshi is still pretty fucking slippery. I mean, I just tried to perform a fucking drift there. I couldn't even fucking get it, bro. Like, what the fuck? Now, I know some of you Super Circuit enthusiasts are going to be like, you just suck at the game, and which is like, okay, that's fair. But I mean, I'm going off of a casual's approach to this game, someone who doesn't really play this game to really get to know the mechanics of this. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Mario Kart's more catered to casual audiences. This is more of just a fun game rather than, like, you know, competitive. But, I mean, the competitive scene's, like, all right. Like, I mean, not going to tell you to not have a competitive scene. But it's like, yeah. Like, look at Yoshi. I mean, cool character and all. Probably, like, my third or fourth favorite in the Mario series overall. But, I mean, like, would I play this character? Probably not on my free time. I mean, like, dude, I get better drifts from fucking Peach than Yoshi. Like, he's bumping into a present and shit. I try to fucking perform a drift, go into a fucking wall, go into another present, and, like, it's crazy. So, because I failed to acknowledge Mario in his own fucking spin-off game, let's go play Mario. He is one of the 3 or 4 middleweights. As I said, I'm not sure if Yoshi's actually classified as a middleweight or lightweight, but let's go with the flow. As you see, Mario controls relatively well. I mean, he's not slippery, he's not too fucking stable, but I mean, I'm just shit at the game. Another detail I probably missed is the fact that you can't really press reverse in this game. I don't think that was implemented till like DS, but yeah. If you get stuck in a wall, you have to press A and B and then maneuver yourself out with the D-pad, which was like fine, but I think a joystick would work better, which, I mean, it's Game Boy. You can't really complain. Like, D-pad works, and I mean, Mario Kart DS still had that issue up until, like, I don't know, I think 3DS really corrected the joystick issue, if you can really consider it that. But I mean, like, yeah, Mario is a pretty good character, like, he's alright. But I mean, do I want to play Mario in his own game? Not really, no offense to Mario. But I mean, like, look, there might be times I press R even when I press the left stick without drifting, and it's like, I slide off the course, like, it's just proving my point on how slippery it is. But then you go to, like, say, we go to one of the heavyweights, by fault, and we go to Donkey Kong. This issue increases by, like, 50 times, man. Like, what's up with the heavyweights and how slippery they are? I tried to perform a drift, dude. Like, this isn't really even my bad at this point. Like, look how slippery DK is. I mean, I don't even like Donkey Kong as a character, to be honest, bro. I don't. Like, for some reason, Donkey Kong used to piss me off all the time in Mario Kart. But, I mean, it's whatever now. But I'm like, dude, I try to drift with DK. I can't even perform, like, one single drift, man, without going off the course. I bump into a present. I go off course. I can't even perform, like, one drift. Like, this ain't even a fucking joke, man. Like, at least with the other characters, I could at least perform some sort of maneuver. Probably even with Bowser. Bowser's probably a more solid character. With DK, it's like trying to fucking, like, score with the wind or some shit, dude. Now, you heard about DK. Let's try this exact same course with Wario, and let's see how much better it is. Like, look at that. I can actually perform a drift a lot better. If I wasn't so fucking jank at the game, I'd probably have a drift by now, but I mean, look at this. Like, I can actually perform drifts with this character. I mean, sure, the next time you press R, like, you're slippery, but I guess that's just the mechanic of the game. I'm not utilizing it properly. But, like, oh my goodness, man. If you were to ask me to choose between DK and Wario all the way, man. I think he has to be the most stable heavyweight, but even he has his issues. I mean, as I said, heavyweights are pretty slippery, and Wario is no exception to this, which is the biggest issue of this game, slipperiness, as I have yapped about for, like, I don't know, 5 minutes straight. But I mean, like, look, like, if you want to play a heavyweight, Wario's there, and I mean, Wario's probably one of the most solid Mario characters. Hell, he has his own spin-off titles, too. So, yeah. That was pretty much all of the control section of the game. Now let's get into the more Grand Prix scheme of things. Don't triple fuck me,
Okay,
banana.
so before continuing on with the whole entire game, let's go ahead and mention all of the cups that are around. So first off, one of the first things you're gonna do is choose a cup, right? Mushroom cup, of course, flower cup, but interestingly enough, the lightning cup is the one that is the third one, which was a huge icebreaker when it came down from me coming to Super Circuit, but then again, I think 64 is also laid out the same way, then you get Star Cup, and then you have to unlock the specials. So we also have a new feature in the game, which you gotta give it credit for. This is the first game to introduce retro tracks again, which they all implemented from SNES, which is like cool and all, but I mean, this game is kind of a mixture of 64 and Super Mario Kart, the original from 1992, I believe, from the Super Nintendo. So it's like, look, it's cool that we have all of these retro tracks, including the legendary SNES Rainbow Road. It's just like, why didn't you really think of including like Nintendo 64 roster of courses? Considering the fact that you have the roster of 64 already, it's like, why would you not add the 64 courses? I mean, that would be badass as fuck. I mean, you know, considering the fact this is like not as good as 64 qualities would be and all that, like it's obviously not 3D, but I mean, imagine a 2D comprehension of Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64 courses. Like, imagine that. That would be amazing. But they decided not to add it, which is like, alright, whatever.
Don't touch me there! So I know everyone's confused on what I'm doing. We are in 50cc Mario Kart Super Circuit right now, and I just wanted to show you a key difference. Now look at Toad. He's a pretty stable character. I mean, every character is pretty much just gonna be stable in 50cc. You're not really gonna notice any sort of difference within the game modes. So, I mean, this is relatively easy, but I want to point out one thing about the AI, though. Not the AI, I mean the bots, obviously. Look how stable they are. I mean, like, shit, I know they're programmed to do that, but it's like, it's bullshit. It doesn't even fit with how well the character controls. It's like, the only thing that applies is you. And also, another thing about each and every character within Grand Prix, depending on which character you choose, you will have a certain selection of characters that will always be gaining on you. For those 3 characters to 4 are, for Toad, are Yoshi, Peach, and Luigi. Those are going to be a constant factor within the whole entire race. So, yeah, if you happen to see Yoshi, Peach, and Luigi, consider them federal ops and that you gotta fucking blast them out the window, bro. Because, I mean, yeah, they're always gonna try and, like, steal your first place. I mean, like, I'm not really playing that well, and I can still get first. So, I mean, everyone could pretty much do it in 50cc. If that's not inspiring enough. But for each and every different character, there will be a set of characters following you. I believe for Mario, it's going to be Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi. For Wario, it's going to be the heavyweights, and I believe an added edition of Luigi. But I'm not wasting my time with all that. I ain't reading it. Now we get into the 100cc things aside, where it doesn't get too hard and it doesn't get too easy. It's pretty much the median. It's not too hard, not too easy. So everything's faster, everything's slightly more difficult. You're going to see a lot more things pop up. But for the most part, you're going to be chilling in this mode. Because, I mean, the slipperiness of this game doesn't really present its issue up until, like, 150cc. And for other characters, yeah, you will start noticing a lot more slip. But for whatever reason, the AI doesn't really give a fuck about the rules. And they still control perfectly fine. You happen to drift out of bounds a bit, it's like they could pass you no problem. And, of course, the everlasting issue of rubber banding within Super Circuit. I guess it decided to take notes from Mario Kart 64 and just decide, fuck it, that was a pretty cool move. And for whatever reason, we have it in Super Circuit. Which doesn't really present much of an issue in Super Circuit because, I mean, look, in 100cc, 50cc, you're not really going to come across that. It's more of like 150cc where it becomes very, very noticeable. Which, I mean, look, you could still perform pretty nice drifts. And I mean, even if you look at the bottom hand right side, you could see of how far I am. Characters aren't really gaining on you too much. Like, you're still doing pretty fine. And it's like, you're just chilling. Like, there's really not much to say about 100cc other than the fact, yeah, it's just the median. Now we get down to the 150cc things of Mario Kart Super Circuit. You go to Grand Prix, you go to 150cc, and this is where everything starts to present a problem. I mean, notice how Toad, it no longer really has the stability he had. I mean, like, I'm doing good and all, but it's like, you could start to notice on how slippery characters really get. But of course, the CPUs don't really give a shit about that for whatever reason, which is total bull, considering how slippery Luigi is, and he just passed me, and look how stable he is. Like, it's fucking bull, but it's whatever. You go down, you see this, and it's like, wow. You never really notice how easy you had it with 50cc and 100cc. 150 is the worst. I can only imagine how Bowser players really feel about 150cc, if there's any that have completed 150cc with this. Then again, I think this utilizes more of the off-road in 150cc, because, I mean, I've looked at competitive, I've looked at, like, you know, professional players, if you want to call that, or, you know, people that actually know how to play the game like a pro, I should say, respectfully. They utilize the off-road a lot more in 150cc, and I see why, because it gives you tighter turns, and it's like, you know, you try to drift, and it's like, you're not really doing anything. You can't really do much. You just slide off the course, or you bump into somebody. It's like, ugh. But I've also failed to mention the coins. The coins do add, like, some sort of purpose, because, I mean, you do need to collect them in order to actually unlock the extra cups, which was my bad. I should have mentioned that. And also, one other thing it does is help you not spin out every time you bump into somebody. It gives you some leeway, but you generally don't want to bump into people on this. But, I mean, Toad is ever so slightly slippery. It's like Mario on normal mode. But, I mean, yeah, 150cc, you'll notice a lot of the issues that arise from Mario Kart Super Circuit slipperiness arise in 150cc. And for mirror mode, you'll also notice that too. I don't have mirror mode unlocked for a very specific reason, and that's because I just cannot get past the extra flower cup, in which I'm trying to unlock each and everything. But, you know, I just can't for whatever fucking reason. So I just decided, you know, just put the game down and decide completing the game from 150cc normal and all the others was good enough. But yeah, without further ado, let's get to the other section of the video. Items.
So one of the things you can
You
see
use a
is
star
you still have
and
a
you're
star
pretty
in
much
this game, which
invincible.
actually allows you to go
You also get to
faster,
go a lot
more
faster,
unstable,
similar
like,
to a
accurate
mushroom.
controlling about this game
Behold,
includes
The blue shell
which was
returned.
included in 64.
And a very neat
But
detail
there's a
about the blue
nice
shell is
little
you press
feature.
R
If you
and then you
plant
press
it there,
D-pad back,
you can see
and you
that,
can trap it, which is
someone runs
quote-unquote
into
called
that.
on the competitive scene. Pretty much means that you can put a blue shell still in place.
For example,
Check
you
this
can have
out.
a
If you
blue
run
shell
into
and
it,
you
it
run
hits
into
you.
that and it
But
hits you.
mainly what it's there for
pull
is the
multiple
fact
and
that
just
it's
let
going to
it
hit the
sit
person
there.
in first. For example, it hit Peach.
But it also
It
will
went
hit the
right
person
directly
first.
at
As you
Peach,
see,
which
Peach
was
the
fucking
person
crazy.
first.
Imagine
Got
that,
hit.
man.
Pretty
Triple shells just
self-explanatory. You
fucking
can't
hit
trap
people,
them,
as
though.
you know. The shock dethrones people. And, I don't know if you can see that, but look, I am invisible on the map. That is the boo item. The boo item steals whoever's item is in first, I believe, or next up from you. A red shell can hit you from the front or the back. Another thing is if you actually happen to press R and then back, like the blue shell, you can actually trap the red shell. So if you go close to it, right, this is what happens. Fucking hits you, Lamau. Triple shells basically do the same thing, so I'm not going to show it on screen here. Other than the fact you cannot trap those. Oh yeah, you can also slow on people with it. The green shell and red shell can be great defensive items, but the green shell will go in any direction you command it to. It will also bounce off walls. Green shells you can also toss back and fuck people over. Triple greens also function the same way, except the fact that you cannot back them. And mushrooms make you fly out the window! The triple mushrooms can also do the same thing, except you can do that 3 times.
Mama, Papa,
Goo goo gaga.
Choo bam bam.
This shit actually makes me want to smile on my teeth. But yeah, another cool detail to this game is the added touch of when you finish 50cc, 100cc, and 150cc. Of course, I'm talking normally. So once you do that and get a star ranking on each, you get a gold background. And also the added addition of Quick Run, which is the first antagonizing versus mode, which is fun. But also you gotta keep in mind, multiplayer and single player Ghost. Absolute banger track. The music in this game is amazing overall, but ooh, this one's a fucking banger. What the fuck? Alright, if anything, let's go ahead and run down the cool ass fucking art that comes with each and every single mainline cup. The Mushroom Cup has art. You really gotta appreciate the fact that they put art for each and every single track. I mean, Shy Guy Beach, that's badass. Riverside Park, Bowser Castle 1. I mean, it really does catch the essence of every single fucking course. Boo Lake, Cheeseland, Bowser Castle, you know, all these courses really outdone with the art. I mean, it's impressive they even fit that. But oh my god, look at Bowser Castle 3, dude. My goodness, that's fucking menacing. If only they had that in an actual Mario Kart game. I feel like people really need to give Super Circuit its credit because, my goodness, we've never seen this in a Mario Kart game since then. Like, this would be amazing to see. Actual characters, screenshots, like that should be implemented in every single Mario Kart game from then. And then you got the retro courses, which you got to give credit for the fact that GBA Mario Kart is the first to ever include retro Mario Kart tracks. And that was the third installment, so that's impressive. Of course, the thing that's not so cool is that they didn't add 64 tracks, but all of the SNES tracks are added here. They got all of the track maps. Now, it would be cooler if it had graphic art, but then again, the tracks are pretty cool in itself. I mean, at least they added something. It's not empty, at least. You gotta give them credit there. Which is, like, cool. And then you got Bowser Castle 1, right? That shit looks like I just farted and shitted, bro. But, I mean, look. The maps, they're cool. Genuinely. I mean, they really did outdo themselves with Super Circuit, I believe. I mean, I feel like they could have done their best with Super Circuit as it already was. Like, they could have done a little bit better, sure. But, I mean, considering the fact that this was picked up by another company, and this is their first ever time making a Mario Kart, I think it's pretty damn good. I mean, shit. They got, like, every single fucking detail. I mean, hell, a prime example of that. Look at the fucking SNES Rainbow Road, man. There's another really cool thing about the SNES tracks is that the fact that they added backgrounds to these things. I mean, it made it look a lot more special in its own way. It's not just the retro tracks. This added a lot more detail than 7 ever fucking could, man. I mean, wow. Like, that background is fucking animated. Like, look at that. That's amazing for GBA standards, man. A lot more colorful and lively. I mean, also the fact that, look at the fucking map. It also adds that little fucking detail that there's a split in the course. I mean, that's pretty cool in itself. But, I mean, overall, just that background. Like, you know, I'm obviously not driving in the thing, but imagine if you're driving and seeing that. That's so fucking cool. Especially if you were a kid at that time. I could only imagine how amazing that looks. But, like, oh my god, man. It does really add a lot of essence to it. But yeah, one thing I will say, don't ever play the fucking lake courses. Don't ever play the ice courses. They are fucking torture. Now, let's go ahead and go into the other stuff. We're going to go ahead and compare it to the other Rainbow Road right here. I mean, look at that, bro. That graphic art alone is impressive. I mean, fitting that in a GBA ratio and everything, like, that is fucking cool. Look at that. The background melts with itself. It looks like the stars are fucking snow. How cool is that? But yeah, look. Another cool addition to the game is that it has a mini-map with it, which Mario Kart 8 had to have DLC for that. That's fucking lame. And the speedometer. Like, every time you fucking press A, it goes with you. The map will also go with you. That is cool as fuck. And also another cool thing, you saw that flash? That indicates every time there's a turn. And I mean, oh my goodness, that's a cool-ass detail. I don't think that's ever been in a Mario Kart game before. I mean, shit, you really gotta give this game credit for what it did. Without this, there would be no portable Mario Kart. And for the first portable Mario Kart on the go, this is a pretty insane experience. You also have this Game Boy Advance multiplayer single pack, which means one player has the copy, 3 others don't, which is essentially like a DS download play, which is cool. But you'll notice that the FPS is a lot more choppy. But hey, if 2 parties have the game, you could play battle and even versus. Hell, you could play this game on a GameCube or even a DS. It's also returned on virtual consoles such as the 3DS, I believe the Wii U, and also of course Switch Online. Also the fact that you can play multiplayer on GameCube, but also play online multiplayer with a whole bunch of people on Switch Online. That's as far as my Super Circuit knowledge goes. I mean, sure, for the time it aged like fucking milk, it's not the best game, and also it didn't really add anything else. Like, there's no unlockable characters. The only thing that really added was new courses. I mean, it also added the fact that you can trap red shells and blue shells, which is a pretty cool feature. I wish that made it back, the art. But I mean, other than for the track and a few item tweaks, there really isn't much going with this game. You also had the fact that it added retro cups, but I mean, you know, if that's the only thing it really has going, is it really that much of a new Mario Kart? It's like, it really doesn't feel as new as it should be. Like, there should be more to the game. But I mean, to be fair, I will rate this game really well because, I mean, it's not a bad game as much as I don't really like the way it controls. I don't really like how bland it feels, but I mean, for the first portable Mario Kart, you really got to give it credit. My overall ranking for this game is definitely a 6 out of 10 because there could be a lot more at work. It's missing a lot, 4 points that I would make it a 10 out of 10. But I mean, with the right conditioning, with the right amount of time, and the right developers, Nintendo could make a really good game. But also the fact that this was a company that never worked on a Mario Kart game before, that Nintendo gave it off to. I forget which one exactly. But I mean, look, the fact that that company really produced a portable Mario Kart game, insane. They should be credited with a lot more than just negative feedback. And that's why this is my honest review of Mario Kart Super Circuit. Thank you guys for watching. I will upload a Mario Kart Wii commentary. I know somebody actually voted that in, but y'all gotta vote more, man. I can't just do one-on-one things, but I will do it for the sake of the poll. Thanks for watching.